Good morning, students. Today our topic is glossophobia. Do you know what glossophobia is? Glossophobia is fear of speeches, speech anxiety. By now, we know that communication is the most important thing in our lives. Okay, communication is the backbone of our society. It allows us to form connections, influence, motivate change, and it helps us to influence decisions. Without communication, it is very, very difficult to progress in work life or in life itself, right? So the point is our communication has to be very, very strong. Now, public speaking is a very, very important and it is the most dreaded form of communication across the globe. Glossophobia, like I told you, it's a speech anxiety, and it is seriously one of the biggest fears of people to be able to stand in front of a crowd and deliver a speech, prepared or not prepared. So there are three types of speaking. Okay, one is speaking to inform, other is speaking to motivate or influence, and one is to speak for to entertain. All right, and the most common form of public speaking is impromptu. Impromptu is that you do not prepare anything and you just go and speak in front of a crowd. Now by crowd I mean like it can be 20 people, it can be 15, it can be 70, it can be 100, it can be thousands. Like a rally, like when our politicians talk, do you think they do have pointers in front of them, but are they actually reading it out? A few of them do, but are they reading it out? No. So it's very, very important that we learn these skills. And by public speaking here, I just don't mean the speech that are delivered by politicians. No, not at all. It also means giving a presentation in the office, standing in front of school assembly, college assembly, if you have any, that is, okay, or just addressing a small crowd, addressing a team. You people are going to be the future managers. You will have to address your team from time to time to motivate, change, influence, all these things. So if you don't speak that well, you will never be that effective. So it's very, very important. If you look back in your life, the people who have had the maximum influence on you in school time, I'm assuming, are people who have spoken really well. Do you remember the principal talking, or even for that matter in colleges, dean talking, and in if you are at a workplace, then the CEO is talking. You are supposed to be speaking really, really well. So even that address is called public speaking, and it's very, very important that you excel it at a younger stage in life. And you've already made a decision by taking up a course on speaking and communication. Speaking spoken English is only not conversation. It is also these impromptu talks that you have with people. It can be anywhere, right? So today I will just address the most important, five most important points that you need to have in mind before you deliver a public speech. Okay, and I hope that you do in life. It is a wonderful experience. I have spoken in front of tons of people, and I'm telling you that these pointers will take you really, really far when it comes to public speaking. Now, the first and the foremost point that you need to remember before delivering a speech is that you are bound to make a mistake. And this is the most important point. You are bound to make a mistake in this speech. There is nothing called a perfect speech. Okay, so please forgive yourself even before you deliver a speech. Forgive yourself that you are going to make some mistake, some blunder. Now, by mistake, I mean, fumbling, forgetting a fact, or, looking away from the crowd, or just forgetting something in the middle of the speech, because we are nervous. We are human beings. We are supposed to be nervous, okay? When so many people are looking at us and we're like, oh God, how are we going to deal with this? The point is that it is important that you realize, even before you deliver a speech, that you are bound to make a mistake. So before stepping on the stage or the elevated area or on the podium, forgive yourself that I am going to make a mistake. It's very, very important. This knowledge is the most important knowledge. Okay? And forgive yourself for making small mistakes, not like fumbling and forgetting a fact, or forgetting which slide is coming now and everything. Not misquoting somebody. These are not the mistakes that you're supposed to be making. Or, fabricating some data. No. The forgiveness is only for the teeny tiny mistakes that you make, which are like, I forgot my piece, or I got disturbed with somebody sneezing in the crowd or something, because a lot of things happen. Lots of things happen to disturb you. So this is point number one, that make yourself aware that you're going to make a mistake on stage, and it is okay. It doesn't matter, because there is nothing called a perfect speech. The second point that you have to understand and know and remember before delivering a speech is that you have to know your audience very well. By knowing your audience means you don't have to know their names, no, not at all. By knowing your audience means you are supposed to know what kind of crowd is actually coming. Who are the VVIPs attending? What is their knowledge base? Okay. And what is the demography of the crowd that is sitting in front of you? Okay. In my classes, I always tell, if suppose there are 100 people coming for your speech, you should definitely know how many of them are actually experts, already experts in your field or your topic, and they will come. So you need to be prepared to be asked questions. It's very, very important. You have to, it's very good if you want a personal touch in your speech. You can actually involve them. How? Not by involving them physically, but involving them by mentioning their work, their research. It's very, very important. Or their achievements for that matter. It's very, very important. So knowing your audience is most important, because that will help you structure your speech and plan your speech. You would not like to stand in front of an expert and speak about their area of expertise. No, it's not right. But if you have to, you will know that I should definitely mention that person, and you should know their research work, their work also like the back of your hand, just as well as you know your speech. So knowing your audience is the key to delivering a very, very good speech, because then you know what can come from the other side too, right? You don't want to be told that, no, I think you are wrong there. No, I don't think that, no, I think that number, that bar graph is wrong. I think you should have considered this point. Do you want to hear this? No. Generally, people don't do it like that in public, but still, you don't want to be called wrong, okay, in public or personally, right? So knowing your audience is like the second most important thing that you have to do in your public speech. There are many, many other points. Today, I'm just addressing the 5 of them. Okay. Now, third thing that you need to know about your public speaking is that you need to speak from your heart. Now, need to speak from the heart means you have to really feel the topic. Obviously, when there are technical topics and topics related to technology or something, you can't really feel them. But when you are, see, what is it that you are actually delivering? Your research or your own study. So your own touch has to come. You can offer new observations, you can give a personal take on a certain thing. uh, it's very easy actually when you have to talk about social issues. It's the easiest, because then you can just take a stand and you can feel that personally I feel this, right? So speaking from the heart is very important. And speaking from the heart is important because when you are standing in an elevated place or a podium, people like to hear your personal experience or some anecdote from your life or something that happened to you or some personal observation or something personal. Indians, we do that, right? We always like it when we can relate to a person, and relate to a person can only happen when we know something about that person, right? So speak from your heart. It's very important that you feel the topic that you're addressing people for. It's very, very important. So speaking from heart means there has to be a level of spontaneity in you, right? So spontaneity comes from what? That comes from our fourth uh, pointer. Fourth pointer is that you should never and ever memorize your whole speech. Only memorize 75% of your speech. Now you will ask why 75%? 75% of your speech is to be learned because you need room for improvisation. You want place for changes. Suppose you see the crowd is a little like, okay, it's such a long thing and everything. You can quickly change it with a story or sharing a joke, obviously related to the topic or something. If it is a topic in which you can joke, obviously. So something, some improvisation, you can, you can actually, now this is another point actually, but I will cover it here. Also, like, if you feel the crowd, you are losing the crowd. By losing the crowd does not mean that people are leaving. People will leave, it's okay. Take it like that. People will leave. So losing the crowd means that you think that their interest is falling. So what are you going to do? Stop. Just throw a question at them and get them involved. Like suppose we are talking about corruption and you feel that the crowd is going. So what are you going to do? You just suddenly throw a question. How many of you feel that the corruption starts at family level? Okay. And people will be like thinking like family level means what? What does it mean family level, right? So this is how you get back the crowd. So it is very, very important that you leave space for improvisation, for changes, for questions. So never ever learn your whole speech. And if you learn the whole speech and deliver it, you will be robotic. And we don't want to be robotic, right? We want to sound natural. Like we are just speaking impromptu. हमने कुछ practice ही नहीं की थी पहले, right? So it's very important that you don't learn the whole speech, memorize the whole speech. Don't do it. Only 75 to 80%. That's it. Okay. And the fifth and the fourth most another very, very important point is that you have to test the equipment that you're going to be using on stage. And you have to know the stage. How big is the stage? How much can you walk? Where are the lights? Where can I stand where I don't hide the presentation? Okay, or the slides or whatever. So that is very important, knowing the stage. And second is testing the equipment, projectors, mics, whatever it is that you're using, pointers, those laser ones. It's very, very important. I know people personally who carry their own mics because, generally there are issues with mics and voice will start cracking or something like that. And for once, I actually carry my own projector. So what happens here? If you are too big a person, and I hope that you will be one day, if you are a very big person, then send somebody to check it for you. Have a dry run, the slides and the mics and hello, mic testing. It's very, 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 very important because you don't want to get irritated while you're delivering the speech. Have you seen people actually lose it? When they, the mic isn't working and everything, and they just get irritated and frustrated. That is not something that you want to do in front of a crowd, right? So it's very important that you test the equipment and you know the stage. Knowing the stage is also important. You don't want to have an embarrassing moment in life, like falling off or something. Or suppose a tile has come loose or something. You should know the stage like absolutely by heart. And moving is very important. If you have been given a podium, that's a separate issue. But if you are moving on the stage, you should know the stage really, really well. So these are the top 5 most important points that you need to remember while delivering a public speech. There are many such points, and we will cover them in our following classes. Thank you.